we provide A-level courses in biology, chemistry, physics, and maths for those students that want to enroll in medical, dental, veterinary, financial, and engineering programs at the chosen university in the UK. So today, in this live stream, I wanted to talk about confidence and mindset in A-level recovery. The issue is this, parents, is that when your teen gets a bad mock result, they get a bad UCAS prediction, they think that it's an academic issue. They think, I'm not smart enough to do A-level chemistry, or biology, or maths. It's my fault. I'm the one who didn't get the grade. But what they need to realize is this, is that it's not their ability, their academic ability, it's their beliefs that's holding them back. And so in this live stream, what I'll do is I'll talk about mindset and confidence and how mindset and confidence are the real drivers for A-level recovery. And parents, how you can help rebuild your teen's confidence so that they can turn things around and start walking the path again to the A and the A star. So if we think about this one then, if we think about it from the teen's perspective, the issue is this. They get a poor test result. Like I said, it could be on a test, it could be on an exam, it could be on a lab report, it could be a mock exam, it could be a UCAS prediction grade, and their entire world, it just collapses. And what they do is, like I said, they start to question their intelligence and they start to question their potential. And so they start thinking, well, maybe I'm not smart enough to do A-level maths and A-level science. They start to question their potential, their academic journey and their career path. And they start thinking, maybe I'm not smart enough to be a doctor or a dentist or a veterinarian. What on earth did I choose these fields of study for in the first place anyway? What exactly was I thinking? Now, what you can understand is this, and this is the bit of neuroscience, this is a bit of academic coaching that we love talking about at Empowered STEM, is that it's a triad. I like to think of it as a spiral. What happens is that when the confidence takes a knock, when they get a bad test result, exam grade, or prediction, the confidence drops. And because the confidence drops, the motivation drops. When the motivation drops, the anxiety increases. So let's go break it down a little bit. The confidence drops, they get a bad test result, and immediately to them, it is a knock to their identity. They get a bad test result and they think, I am this test result. This is who I am. This is who I identify as an A-level student. I'm taking A-level chemistry and I got a D. Oh my goodness, right? And so the confidence drops. And when the confidence drops, the motivation begins to drop. They start thinking, I won't put in the hour tonight for A-level chemistry or biology. I'll just do it tomorrow. Or, what I got to do is focus on those A-levels that are going rather well, isn't it? And then what happens is because the motivation drops, they're not putting in the time, effort, and attention. Now what happens is that the anxiety begins to increase because the next lab report's due. The next quiz is due. The homework set's due. The next test is due. The next exam. The reset of the mock exam. And so the anxiety begins to spiral upwards. And so I tend to think of it as kind of like a snake chasing his tail. It's like loops around. And unfortunately, it isn't looping upwards towards the A and the A star. It's actually looping downwards to the E and the U. Now, the reason is because it's this. If your teen believes that they can't do it, then every revision session is an uphill battle. Now, the classic one, the classic case, I mean, everybody's heard about this one. It's Roger Bannister running the 4-minute mile. Up until that point, medical doctors actually said it is impossible for a human to break the 4-minute mile barrier. You can't run that fast. Except Roger Bannister, he didn't believe it. And because he didn't believe it, then what happened is that he broke the 4-minute mile barrier. And after he broke it, a lot of other athletes broke it because confidence is contagious. Beliefs are contagious. And so when they saw someone else break the 4-minute mile barrier, they thought, well, great, I can do it as well. And so beliefs and confidence, they're linked together. It's like hand in hand. Beliefs and confidence are linked together, and they can pull you up to greater and greater successes. Or on the other hand, they're like a double-edged sword. On the other hand, they can pull you down. And so if you start to believe that you can't do something, then your confidence drops, your motivation drops, anxiety increases, and you begin to spiral downwards. Because if you can't believe you can do it, well, then you won't. This one comes from Henry Ford. He said, if you believe you can do it, or if you can't believe you can do it, you're right. Now, the issue is, parents, is that you see your teen struggling. And by the way, I know you mean well. I do. You see your teen struggling. They didn't get the top grade on the test or the exam or the lab report or the predicted grade, the UCAS grade. And so what you do is that you say, well, you know what you need to do, son, daughter? You also need to work harder, don't you? Well, you're obviously not putting in enough time, effort, and attention, are you? Because if you were, you wouldn't have this grade, would you? Now, effort and attention to something, I will admit, parents, it's on a continuum. And there are some students that, yes, the parent is correct in saying you're not putting in the time, effort, and attention into your studies. Totally agree. And then you start to move up the continuum. You move over to the putting in the time, effort, and attention, but they're not getting the result that they want. And then you start going overboard and you start putting in too much time, effort, and attention. You start getting burnt out. It's like going down to the gym. What we're talking about is that there is this optimal amount of effort and attention your teen needs to put in. So just like you can overtrain down the gym as well as undertrain, you can overstudy as well as understudy. But the issue is when the grade comes in and it's bad, it's not what the teen expected, the parents automatically default to, well, you just need to work harder. And that's not the best idea for your teen, because what it does is that number one, is that it fuels anxiety. Because now your teen is really stressed out to think, well, I'm putting in the time, the effort, and attention. Why don't my parents see me putting in the effort and the attention on my studies? I'm doing everything that the teacher said. I've got the YouTube channel up. I've got the revision books open. I'm doing my bit. I'm just not getting the results that I want. Because the parents mean well, but you haven't quite got it. And so it's like your effort is giving them more anxiety. Now, what you need to understand then, if you want to help your teen, be successful and they've got a bad test result, well, then what we need to do is that we need to break the confidence, motivation, and anxiety triad. We need to break it. So we need to get in there and we need to reinstall some confidence into your teen, because what psychologists have found out, what studies have shown is that confidence is the fuel for success. Confidence is the fuel for success. Reward is not the fuel for success. Now, I know this one sounds a little bit strange. Let's go break it down, right? So confidence is the fuel for success. Meaning, if your team is confident that they can do it, confident leads to more motivation leads to less anxiety, and they're now beginning to spiral upwards. Whereas it's not reward. It isn't, well, you know what? Done my hour and a half studying today, done that, right? Done my past paper questions. I've done that little checkbox, got this going. Fantastic. Problem is that is a reward system. And the issue is that reward doesn't build confidence. They just go after the reward, but there's no confidence behind it. There's nothing sustainable behind it. And without confidence, the best study plans fail. And so if your team puts together a study plan, they put together a revision strategy, and they're not confident in their ability to act out the plan, to act out the strategy, well, then they're not going to do it. What they'll have is they'll have a study plan stuck on the fridge. And they're not going to be motivated to fill it out, which means that they haven't broken the triad of confidence, motivation, and anxiety. Now, is there any evidence for what I'm talking about in this live stream? Well, of course there is, because at Empowered STEM, we love using neuroscience, we love using academic coaching, we're deeply into the mindset because we understand that mindset is the driver of your teen's success in A-level maths and science courses. And so, first thing, confidence is not a personality trait. Some people think that confidence is something that you were born with. No, it's not. Confidence is something which you can develop. If you look at an actor at the very early stages of their career, an Oscar award-winning actor, the very first play that they did, probably a high school production, they were nervous. They didn't have any confidence in their ability. And now you look at them after they've won Oscar after Oscar, a real famous actor or actress, and they just have the confidence to be on stage, to be on the set, and just deliver again and again a perfect performance. That is not a personality trait. That is something which you can develop. Confidence is better to be thought, it's better to think of confidence as being something which confidence is evidence of progress being made. Just like the actor developing their stagecraft and getting more confident with what they did. Confidence is evidence of progress. You start out with no confidence in something, and then you start to build up confidence, because confidence is like a muscle. So how exactly do we get this confidence into your teen? How do we help them rebuild their confidence after they've had a bad test result? Well, it's this. Start with a small win. You go, oh, Graham, come on. That is so pop psychology. Start with a small win. But it's true. They've actually done studies, and they found out that if you have a small win, you get a release of dopamine in the brain. And the small wins stack up on each other. And so when you have a small win, you get a release of dopamine. You get a release of dopamine. And what this does is that this reinforces a very key belief, which is that effort leads to success. And so for your teen, start them out with a small win. They may have got a really bad test result. They may be sitting on a D in A-level chemistry, for example. Okay, you say, right, the next test that you take in a month, we're going to work really hard and we're going to move it from a D to a C. Or you need to do so many hours of studying a week, 7 hours of studying a week. The national average for an A-star student is 7 hours of studying a week to get the A-star. You're going to do 7 hours of studying a week, and you know what? We're going to track your progress. And every time you do an hour and a half or 60 minutes of study, that is a small win. And what's going to happen is that the small win, even though they seem trivial, they release the dopamine in the brain, and then you start to reinforce that belief of effort equals success. Now, something else we need to talk about, parents, is this one, is that intelligence is not fixed. You go, really? I mean, I thought when you were born, Graham, you were born with a certain amount of intelligence. No, intelligence is actually fluid. It actually increases. Okay, they did a really interesting study. This one came out, I think it was last year. They looked at the IQ scores of 18-year-olds now and going back every 10 years, all over the world. And what they found out is, as a race, we're actually getting more intelligent because intelligence is fluid, which means that you can increase your intelligence just like you can increase muscles by going down to the gym. Now, parents, I'm not saying that all of a sudden your teen is going to move from where they are now to being like a Stephen Hawking or a Richard Feynman or an Albert Einstein. But what I am saying is that they can start to move their intelligence, okay? Because intelligence is actually situational. What it comes down to is a study done by Carol Dweck called The Growth Mindset. Now, this one, again, parents, I know the growth mindset is being talked about and talked about and talked about. And it's a model that we use, okay? And it's this one. Growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Growth mindset is when the student believes that they can increase their intelligence, they can actually improve themselves. Fixed mindset is when they believe that they can't. And Carol Dweck has done all these studies on it. But basically, it's this. If we take it into the context of A-level chemistry, growth mindset would be a growth mindset would be one where if they get a bad test result, a bad exam result, they think, okay, I can work on this. I can improve this. I can do better next time. Whereas the fixed mindset is the student that goes, oh, well, best I can do. Guess I can't really do A-level chemistry beyond a grade of a C then, can I? Now, the student who thinks, who believes in the model of the growth mindset, they understand that intelligence is situational and it can be developed over time. And if they believe this, it's like going down a belief staircase. If they believe that intelligence is something which could be developed and is not fixed, they can improve it over time, then when they come to a challenge such as a bad test result, a bad exam grade, whatever, they have more resilience. And if you have more resilience, you start to achieve higher. Because again, they've done studies that show students with more resilience have higher achievement on tests and exams. So, as you can tell, this one, parents, is something which is really, really close to my heart in this one, okay? Because I really understand the belief, the behaviors, and the values triad, and the mindset, and how important it is for students to have a good mindset when it comes to A-level maths and A-level science. And this mindset that I'm talking about, inside all of our courses at Empowered STEM, we offer mindset coaching. Okay, it's ingrained, it's part of our DNA at Empowered STEM that we offer mindset coaching. Now, again, let's be clear. This is exactly what I mean by mindset coaching is that we teach students how to plan, how to think, plan, and perform under pressure. Because A levels, you have to admit, they are a pressure cooker, aren't they? They're probably the most important exams that your teen has to take in their entire lives. So for 2 years, they're really under the microscope, if you would. So we teach them how to think strategically, how to plan, study plans, revision strategies, and how to perform, get rid of exam anxiety and nerves and jitters under pressure. Because when they walk into the exam hall, parents, at the end of 2 years, and they take the final exam, it is a lot of pressure that they have on their shoulders for the 2 hours of the exams. And they're going through these exams morning and afternoon for about a week. So, having said this, how exactly do we reframe the confidence then? So we've established that confidence is the driver of success. It's not rewards. The teen's confidence is taken a knock when they get a bad test result. We understand the science behind it. But how exactly do we reframe confidence? Well, number one is this. Number one is you need to reframe the story. So when they come to you, they say, Mom, Dad, you're not going to believe this. I got such a bad test result, a bad exam grade. I can't believe that I did it. It's the end of the world. I don't know what I'm going to do now. I'll never get into medical school. I'll never become a vet, a dentist. Seriously, what am I going to do? Typical teenage angst. We need to reframe it for them and help them understand, you know what, son, daughter, it's only one test grade. It's only one exam result. It's only a prediction of what you can do. It's not written in stone, is it? This is not your final grade in A-level chemistry, for example. So number one, reframe the story. Number two is create a series of quick wins. Think about the triad that I talked about: confidence, motivation, anxiety. Help them put together a study schedule, revision strategies, and help them create a series of quick wins. And it could just be, right, tonight I'm going to study for an hour for A-level biology, or tomorrow I'm going to study for 19 minutes on A-level chemistry. I'm going to get my 7 hours in a week of study outside of class time. The next exam or test result I'm going to get the next letter grade up. If I got a D, I'm going to move into the C barrier. If I'm doing practicals, I'm going to see, rather than get 4 or 5, I think there's like 4 or 5 grades you can get, or like reds and oranges. I'm going to see if I can get, say, 4 or 5 greens on it, because they grade them on the red, amber, green system. Number 3 is normalize struggle. Because this is a big one, because students sometimes think that, you know what, I'm the only one that goes through this. It's me, isn't it? Mom, Dad, it's me. I'm the one that couldn't get A-level chemistry. I'm the one that's not smart enough to do it. No one else has to do it. I mean, my friends all got the A and the A star, and my friend got a B, and I got a D. Well, we have to do is normalize struggle and say to them, yes, but everybody is on a different path going up to the A and the A star in A-level maths and science. So you're all walking up the same mountain, but your path is going to be slightly different than your friends, isn't it? And it's normal to go through struggle, because you can't learn something which you already know. Because if you knew it and you got the A star, you wouldn't be learning it, would you? 4th point, reconnect to purpose. Because again, it's the old saying of you can't see the forest for the trees. All that they're seeing is piles and piles of papers and grades and exams and everything else. And it's like they kind of lose their purpose. As Simon Sinek would say, they've lost their why. So help them become grounded in it. Why are we studying A-level chemistry again, son, daughter, biology, maths? That's right, because you wanted to be a dentist. And so you have to start climbing the path to being a dentist, don't you? You get the A-levels done, then you go to university and then medical school, and there you are. And the 5th one is this: surround them with positivity. Always have a kind, meaningful word for them to hear. Right? Do not go in there and say, well, better luck next time. Well, if only you studied more. Don't know why you're doing this one. Yeah, but in enough time, I can tell you that right now. Try flipping it and have a word of positivity for your teen. Be more like, you know what? I'm really proud of you because you're putting in the time and the effort and the attention onto your studies. You're really working it. So if you want to reframe confidence, there's 5 things. You reframe the story, create quick wins, normalize struggle, reconnect to purpose, and surround with positivity. So as always, parents, in these live streams, I always begin to wrap these live streams with a real story. Because parents always say, well, yes, but Graham, I mean, is there a student story behind this one? Well, of course there is. Let me tell you the story about Rowan. Rowan, by the way, she's now a practicing psychologist. When she came to us, she was taking A-level chemistry. And let's just say that things weren't going well. She had a bad mock result. She couldn't stand A-level chemistry. It was a teacher's fault at school, the way that they taught. She had 2 teachers doing it. She's putting in the time, the effort, and the attention, and yet now look at this mock result, Graham. I mean, seriously, now look at this. It is a D. Well, it's my fault, isn't it? I mean, it's because I'm not smart enough. I can't do A-level chemistry. How am I supposed to get to medical school? Come on. Right. So what we did is that we sat Rowan down, we had a conversation with her, and we put a plan together for her, a framework for her to follow. Imagine putting a pathway together for her to start walking up the path to the A of the A star. And the very first thing that we needed to do is we needed to get in there and give us some mindset coaching. We had to get in there, parents, and rewire the way that Rowan thought about her abilities and her skill set. We had to install a very high degree of confidence. Now, mindset coaching is what we do at Empowered STEM as part of our courses. Structured feedback, because it wasn't the content that was catching Rowan out. It was the exam technique. And so we give a structured feedback on the exam technique. This is what you're doing right. This is what you're going to work on, improve on this. Watch out for this exam, the trap here. And we also polished off everything by giving her the medical mindset approach. Because there's a certain approach the doctors have to tests and exams and to studying and to revising. They have a certain mindset. And the reason they have a certain mindset, parents, is because medical school is 5 years. And so you've got to have the right mindset going in. And so what they've done is the students in medical school who got into medical school, they also did well on their A levels. And the reason why they did well on the A levels is because they had the right mindset. We call it the medical mindset approach. And this is what we teach as part of our courses at Empowered STEM. Now, because of that, Rowan moved her grade from a D to an A star in A-level chemistry. She actually attended the University of Liverpool. She got a degree in psychology, and she is a practicing psychologist. Now, parents, I know that you mean well for your son, for your daughter. I know you do. But there's one thing that you need to understand is that you can't give them confidence. Just like we couldn't give Rowan confidence. You can't say, oh, here's some confidence. Here's an injection of confidence. You can't give somebody confidence. But what you can do is that you can create the environment, the conditions where confidence grows. And this is what we do at Empowered STEM, is that we create the environment for the students enrolled in our courses so that confidence grows. Now, if you want to help your team increase their confidence, a couple of things we can do. Number one, praise the effort, not perfection. They don't have to get the A star or the A on the exam. If they're sitting at a C or a D, that's kind of a big jump for them to do. But on the other hand, you can praise the effort. You say, well, I'm really proud of you because you put in so many hours of study this week. You've also got a plan. I see you working the papers, the homework. I see you asking for support and everything else. You praise the effort, not perfection. And number two is you focus on the habits, not the hours that they put in. Now, this is, again, it's something that we teach at Empowered STEM is this. We know that top grades do not come from the hours that the student puts in. Top grades come from the habits which they form. And so help them develop good study habits, good revision habits, good learning habits. And when you do, if you praise the habits, the things that they're doing right, you will find that it's not the hours they put in, it's the habits that help them get the higher grades. And I think most importantly, parents, is this one. We need to understand that resilience, not results, is what defines success. If you look at Steve Jobs, for example, Steve Jobs, he didn't create the first iPhone perfect out on his very first go, did he? Oh, look, here's the iPhone. No, he went through trial and error, but Steve Jobs, who's been studied a lot, Steve Jobs had a high degree of resilience. Or Jeff Bezos from Amazon, or any of the actors, any of the athletes. If you look into their autobiographies, you will find out that most of them have a high degree of resilience because it's not the results that define success. And resilience is what the universities and the employers are looking for. Now, parents, talked about a lot today. We talked about confidence and how to install confidence into your teen, all right, after they've had a bad test result in the A levels. If you enjoy watching the live streams, if you find it beneficial, say, well, Graham comes out and he's always given us the tips and the strategies that help students, my son, my daughter, earn the top grades in A-level maths or A-level science, and you want to learn more. Couple of things. Number one is, if you're watching this on Facebook, if you're watching this live stream on Facebook, then by all means, subscribe to the business page. And then you'll be notified of upcoming live streams. Or if you're watching on the YouTube channel, then by all means, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And again, you'll be not only notified of upcoming live streams, but also you can watch all the other live streams that we've done. And parents, if you're thinking, Graham, I really am interested in what the courses that you offer at Empowered STEM, and I'd like to learn more. Well, then it's easy. Just click the link in the description, either the one on Facebook below the video or the one on YouTube below the video. Fill out the form, and a member of my team will reach out to you, and you can have a non-committal, non-sales conversation. It's a really easy conversation that you can have with them. It's this. What they'll do is they'll find out where your teen is academically, grade-wise, where they want to go, what their aspirations are, what university they want to go to, what job they want to have outside, a career they want to have outside of university. And once you understand that, they'll then explain to you about our courses, what we offer at Empowered STEM, how it actually works. And if you're thinking, yes, it's a good fit between what your teen needs and what we offer, then you can ask all the questions you want, and then you can make an informed decision and take it to the next level. Everybody take care, and I'll see you in the next one.